Okay, white belts, this is your class for Friday. We're basically going to build on the basic strikes that we did on Monday, but now we're going to start putting them together in some really basic combinations, but things that when we do our punch defenses, when we do our situationals and we come out fighting, how do we chain these movements together so there's an economy of motion to them, so we don't feel quite so choppy, so disjointed when we're trying to put our techniques together to wail on people, right? Then we'll also finish with the body movement drill. It's really important that we get those down, and if we can do more of that, I know it's not as exciting as some of the grabs and things like that, but if we can do more of that while we're not together, then we can hit the ground running. We don't have to focus on that stuff to get people ready for belt tests and stuff when we come back. We can do the interactive stuff a whole lot more if you have that foundation of all these basics, right? I trust that you've done a little bit of a warm-up. If you haven't, go ahead and press pause and do that now. We're going to do a little sport-specific one in just a minute, but go ahead and do your basic jumping jacks, all that type of stuff if you haven't already. Okay, so back, hopefully. So next warm-up, you're basically stand on the line. If you don't have a line, take your belt off and put it down on the line, assuming that you actually dressed out for class. I don't know. I hope you're not in your pajamas, but I can't tell. I don't know. Okay, but 1, 2, 3, 4, as fast as you can. Both feet in front, both feet in back. Not this, but both feet forward, both feet back. Fast as you can. 10 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go. And time, okay? So, if you can remember, if you went left, right, now go right, left. Do the other leg, the same thing. On your mark, other foot goes first, get set, and go. Okay, so other foot forward, and again, this is really important when we're moving. You keep going, right? But we're getting that spring in our step so that we can explode into our movements forward and back. Time, okay? So next one, on your line again, you're just gonna bound, back and forth, okay? A little spring in your step, kind of like you're skiing, but not, you don't have to make it too dramatic. These are not giant hops, they're little bounds. So again, when we're moving around, if I need to explode forward, hop back, I can be on my toes, I have that spring in my feet, in my ankles, I have that bound, I can explosively move or react, okay? So we're just getting that spring in our step. We're going a little bit longer this time, so keep your rhythm going, keep breathing, nice and easy, back and forth over your line, spring in your step. Maybe like 20 more seconds. And time. We're going to do another round. If you want to turn around and face the other direction for a change of scenery, you are welcome to do that. Okay, I'll go on a different line. I still have to be able to see the clock a little bit though. So 30 more seconds, go. We are getting more of a workout in doing these virtual classes because I can't tell other people to demonstrate this stuff. I've got to do all of it myself for Mr. Wilson for the other classes. Today was fitness day in Dragons. I messed with him even more, made him do even extra work, okay? All right, so the next drill we are doing is to work on our kicks and our flexibility. It doesn't look like it's working on our flexibility, but it really is. So we're gonna just hold the lapels of your dobok from here, okay? Your head is gonna be up. You're gonna bring your knee as high as you can to your chest, okay? Up and back down. So this is your chamber for a front kick, okay? Now, what we don't want to see is, well, okay, so I said I'm gonna bring my knee as high as I can to my chest. I did not say I'm going to bring my chest down to my knee, right? That might be a coordination thing. It's probably a flexibility thing. If we're tighten the hamstrings across the hips, okay, then when I do this, I round my back as my hips tuck under, okay, or then I drop my head down. You guys look like a bunch of chickens, right? Doing this, walking around and everything else. So no chickens, head up, back straight, right? Not accused of going to finishing school, but if I had, if I was in finishing school and I had to keep the book on my head as we walk. Okay, head up, back straight, knee as high as I can go, and try and get it to go back down. You don't have to march forward, you can do it in place, obviously. Up, back down, head up, head still, shoulder still, no, round my back in chicken. Do like 20 of those each side. Okay, so we've done a lot of our strikes. We're going to put together some really basic combinations with the strikes. The first one we have is jab, front kick, jab, cross. I'm going to do, my back leg is going to do a kick. I'm going to step down, and as I step down, I step into my jab, my front hand, and then I throw my hips into my cross, okay? Back leg, same hand, other hand, okay? This confuses people, so pay attention. Right now as I'm standing, this is my jab and this is my cross, right? But after I kick and step forward, now I've switched leads. This is my hand, my jab hand. This is my hand, this is my hand too. This is my jab hand, this is my crossing hand. So I've switched sides, okay? Now, no tight roping. If I tight rope, I can't turn my hips. Okay, let me say it this way. Sometimes it's easier just to illustrate what I don't want to see. Okay, so what I don't want to see is this. Okay. I got nothing. Okay. So, as I said, there's an economy of motion. One of these goes into the next, goes into the next. Okay, so I throw my front kick. As I step down, I step into my jab. This hip stays back. If I set down square, then I've got nothing for the cross. When my foot lands, that's when this jab comes out, this hip stays back, this hand is ready to pull all the way back to my jaw as I do my cross, okay? Now, it's also hard for me to turn my hips if I'm doing the splits. So if I take too big of a step here, then I can't turn my hips this way. At best, I can maybe reach with the shoulders, but again, that doesn't work out very well for me. Right? So either I have to take a smaller step, or as I step down, I'm bringing this back foot up underneath me so I can still turn my hips on the cross again, just like, right, we're moving forward, kind of like when we're doing the body movement drill or other things like that. Okay? So, one more time. Kick, jab, cross. Okay, facing the mirrors. Okay, back leg, same hand, other hand. Then, okay, so do that like 10 times each side. Take your time, make sure that you've got good mechanics, check and make sure feet are not tight roping, feet are underneath you, you turn your hips, okay? Do that about 10 times each side. Then, the next combination is jab, cross, roundhouse. Now I do my front hand, I do my back hand, and my hips have started to turn over, so I'm going to finish with my roundhouse kick. Front hand jab, back hand, back leg. Jab, cross, kick. What I don't want to see on this one is we get a hurry on the cross or on the kick. I have to think about it. I do my jab and I get this, where that's kind of all working together. Okay, so I don't want to stall out forever to where then I kind of lose that economy of motion, but at the same time, so there's that sweet spot in between where I'm not rushing it or we're kind of doing the same thing at the same, the two things at the same time, but I am again flowing 1 to 2 to 3. Now, There might be a time where I also can add a cheat step to it. So I do my jab. Okay. Pull this up a little bit, sorry. So I do my jab, I do my cross. The problem is I'm still right on the X, I'm still right in the pocket. Right? I'm right in the middle of his gun trick, whatever metaphor we're going to use for that. Okay? So oftentimes, you'll see it taught after I do this, I'm going to step off angle for this kick. This foot is going to step me over, and what that is doing is zoning me off angle. So 1, 2, and I step to create space for my roundhouse kick there. Coming at you the other side. 1, 2, step, and 3. Okay? So that's a viable option, right, that I might consider doing. Jab, cross, step out, and kick. However, it makes me nervous that you can only do a roundhouse if you step out to it. Okay? I want you to be able to pivot too. Okay? So jab, cross, make sure I'm still getting a good pivot on your roundhouse kick. And then if you want to then do it with a step instead to zone you out of the way, then you can do that as well. Okay? So we did front kick, jab, cross. We did jab, cross, roundhouse. Okay? The bridge is that jab, cross. That's the chorus. We put the two bookends together, and we have front kick, jab, cross, roundhouse. I kick them low, I hit them high, and I kick them back low. Low, high, high, low, like this stage. Okay? Right, right, left, left. Or left, left, right, right, as the case may be. Okay? I want to see, and if you've got the flexibility, that's great, but the other thing we're working on is working this high-low line, like we've talked elsewhere in punch defenses and things like that. It's very hard for a person to be able to protect up here and down here at the same time. Only kind of the best trained martial artists can really do that, okay? That are disciplined enough to do that, okay? So 9 out of 10 people, when we start to kick them in the groin, their hands drop, which means the face is open, right? Or maybe, right, they're covered up. I'm trying to hit them, right? I'm trying to hit up here, boom, boom, but they're covered up. Nothing's getting through. So I have to change levels and go down low instead with a knee or a kick or whatever else, right? Or a lot of times when I assault women in class, in training, just to clarify, right? Like when we're doing our fast classes or whatever, right? We tell them to go hit us in the face, in the helmet. And then I turn around and I grab their hands so that they can't hit in the face, in the helmet. Right? So they've got to be able to make that mental switch. This is not working. I've got to change levels and go down low. So we got to work that high-low line. I hit them high, I kick them low, or vice versa. If something isn't working up here, then chances are I have a better chance of making something happen down there, or vice versa. Okay? When we're doing our punch defenses and we say we're working on our flow, we got to hit them 5 times. If you get stuck, change levels. Right? If you hit them and I don't know what else to do, and I'm doing this and what else, okay, switch, go back down there. Right? Change levels. So once again, the combination for now: back leg, kick, jab, cross, kick. Okay. So make sure you rep those out. So all these combinations do at least about 10 times each side. So if you haven't already done that, go ahead and press pause and make sure you do that. All right, so for giggles, we'll do one more, okay? And have to move the shamrocks off. This bag's a little lower, so it symbolizes this person's leg a little bit more. Okay, so, and there's nothing sacred about any of these combinations. It's just teaching us to get to hopefully get good body mechanics in succession, okay? So when we are doing that jab cross roundhouse, we said I might zone out, okay? So I go jab, I go cross, I step off angle to create space, and there's my kick, okay? Or, so now, I'm going to add a side kick / back kick to it. So if I hit them in the leg, right, so they went to punch, or they're standing here, I zone this way, I take out this leg with the roundhouse kick. right? They're gonna do one of two things, okay? Maybe they kind of drop, or they get this leg pulled back, and then this knee and the inside of this thigh is kind of open, the groin's kind of open that way. Or more likely, right, this is gonna turn their hips a little bit and they're gonna square up. Now the grin is facing over here, okay? So either way, after I do this kick, I'm gonna touch the floor, regroup, and do low line side kick, almost like a back kick, back to either the thigh knee region here or the groin region here. I mean, it can go higher, but it doesn't have to, okay? So it goes 1, 2, step, kick, tap, kick. 1, 2, step, kick, tap, kick, and drive. Everybody see it one more time? Jab, cross, step out, kick, tap, kick. There's nothing sacred about these, just working on putting some combinations together, okay? We got plenty more, but that should keep you busy for a little while. Last thing we want to do tonight is a body movement drill, as I alluded to for white belts, okay? I think most of us have heard this spiel in class, but to reiterate, it's not very flashy, but it is a fundamental thing. You have to be able to move your feet. As you build through the ranks, the footwork doesn't change, but we keep giving you more things to be able to do while doing this footwork. But if our footwork is poor, our balance, and we just harped on this in the yellow belt video, right? If I do my movement, if I do my back pivot, for example, okay, I know this foot moves. But if I'm off balance, I'm on my heels, I'm about ready to fall over when I do it, then it doesn't really help me a whole lot, right? So yeah, maybe I didn't get out, maybe I didn't get hit that time, but if I'm off balance, I'm basically falling over, I'm probably prolonging the inevitable because I'm not in a good position to do much about whatever else comes next. Okay, so even if you feel like you're getting pretty good at the actual stepping patterns, make sure we're focusing on the quality. Make sure I feel I'm on balance, I'm not tight roping, I have a stable platform from which to generate power, to explode, to do something else after the fact as we do it, okay? All right, so moving forward and back, I do my high block as I step forward. 1, feet shoulder width, no tight roping. Other hand comes up to cover. Make sure I bring the hands back down. I just don't change the levels of my high block. You end up in a good fighting stance again, if you will. And then back to my high block. 3 and 4 back, spring back, on my toes, feet shoulder width apart. I'm underneath me. I put my right foot forward. I do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3 back, 4 back. Okay? Side to side motion, and we're going to do these pretty quick because you can always rewind if you need to see that again. Okay? Side to side motion, I'm going to be on this line. Make sure when I turn to the side, it's not just that I slide because my heels are in line, but I'm also turning and squaring to the threat that's coming from the side. So my feet end up straddling that line I was just on. Okay, so I would encourage you to, kind of, again, make a line on the floor wherever you're doing this at home, and make sure that you end up shoulder width apart. My hand does an outside touch block simply by virtue of the rotation of my body. I come back up to neutral. I do the same thing to the other side. This is the common mistake, don't do this. As I turn, this foot has a tendency to then keep going back behind me. Don't do that. If I'm looking to my right foot is forward, back to neutral. If I'm looking to my left foot is forward, feet shoulder width apart. So one more time. 1, back to neutral, 2, 3, and 4. Slide back 45 on the diagonals. 1, I step back up to where I just was. 3, outside touch block, and back up. So I go in a diagonal. And we talked in class, but to reiterate, there's a big difference between if something's coming at me, just reacting and maybe moving back, straight back. Perhaps that's all I have the time to do. It's very quick, just reflexive, oh crap movement, right? But I'm still in the way of whatever's coming at me. There's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of aggression coming in this line. I would much rather ole, getting off angle so I'm out of there, off the X, and still in a position to counter strike or whatever, okay? So even these small angles make all the difference in the world sometimes, okay? So as this is coming at me, once again, outside touch block, back up, I make the V to the other side, and back. That's your slide back 45. Inside pivot, I step off angle, left foot, right hand, I do my 45-degree angle touch block. My left hand is up, so as I add the pivot, I do my inside touch block as I look at the front 45. Then I come back to neutral, and we go the other side. So the big thing on this one is I don't over-rotate. Okay? So if I'm here, I step up, right? The thread is here. This is the person's body. Their arms reaching out, I didn't block. I'm going to turn and face them here, okay? If I over-rotate to here, then I can't punch him either. I'm out of position. Okay? Or this is just plain silly. So I want to make sure I end up facing them. So the big mistake when we're doing it in the air is to make sure I don't over-rotate. I look at the front corner, visualize what you're doing. As we said, that's what separates this from a bad line dance. Okay? And yes, we've been to Aikido weddings. We've done it as a line dance. Not proud, but we've done it. Okay? But still, right? The whole point is that you make sure we're looking straight ahead. 2 back to neutral. Other side, right foot, left hand. Right hand does the block as I look at the front corner of the room, not the side. Okay? One more time. Left foot, right hand. And pivot. 2. Other side, 3. And 4. Back pivot. Depending on the space you have in your home, wherever you're practicing, you might have to shortchange this. I hope you don't have to significantly though, because you should be able, when I do my back pivot, to cover 1 tatami width back. I want you to do 1 mat width back, then I come back up, I go to the other side, big motion, and back up. So if I move the corner I'm standing on or straddling, okay, but again, 1 mat width back, low inside touch block. Imagine someone's like front kicking me in the groin. I'm going to get out of the way as I swat the block out of the kick that way. 2 back up, kicks coming at me. Other side, swat it out of the way as I move. Okay. After I block, get the hand right back up where I can use it again. But we've all been, I know all my white belts, even I know you guys have been in the class long enough to understand all the other times and places. Well, not all, but you started to understand when and how often we use this back pivot to create, to move from our center, to off balance another person, to make that movement effortless for us and still make them move. Okay? So uber important that we're able to use that back pivot. Okay? Cross step and turn. If X marks the spot where I'm standing on, and use one of the shamrocks we used in the other classes. Okay? Since we're not doing these live, I'll have to, when you guys come back, I don't know, they might be May shamrocks, I don't know, but we'll have to make up for you guys. We do some prizes and some fun and games, right? But anyway, so cross step and turn. I'm going to the front 45s at diagonal. So I go right, then left. I'm looking at where I just was, or the back corner of the room, okay? Presumably, if a bad guy was coming up behind me, and I'm coming up, rawr, to grab them or whatever, okay? I don't want to just turn around and stand right here like we already talked about, okay? So I'm stepping off angle. If my hands are up as I come around, I do this kind of sweeping inside touch block as I come around. If they are closer to me, already reaching or punching for me, maybe I clear that out of the way just by turning if my hands are up. Now, maybe not, but I promise you it's not going to happen if your hands are down. So good habits, maybe we get lucky, okay? So I do a step across, hence the term cross step, and I continue to turn in that same direction, hence the term cross step and turn. To go back, I hit rewind, left, right, I come back to where I started. To go to the other side, left and right, inside touch block with my front hand, and then right and left. Still animating the block, just don't let my hands go along for the ride completely. Right? If you can do your blocks as if you're in a horrific skiing accident, like in a Looney Tunes commercial, and you're in like the total body cast. If you can do the blocks in your body cast, then we're not really doing blocks. Right? I need to still animate the hand a little bit when I come around and other side. Last one, back spin, back step. My left foot steps, I spin around to the front, make sure my feet are shoulder width apart, good outside touch block by virtue of the rotation of my body. Now here, the blocking application breaks down. We use this spin lots of other places, but I'm not gonna like spin around before I block somebody. Okay, so again, the blocking application breaks down, but we still need the footwork. Back step, whatever foot is forward, I'm going to this corresponding 45-degree angle back corner. So if my left foot is forward, I'm going to the left back corner. Right hand does the block. Imagine a roundhouse kick was coming around this way at me, right? They're kicking this way, I'm going to step off angle and block. My right foot is now slightly forward, so I go to the right back corner of the room. Kick is coming around this way, for symmetry's sake we go that way. What I don't want to see is me simply walking backwards this way for reasons we already discussed. I'm not really getting off angle away from that power arc. Okay? So I zig and zag as I do it. Okay? My right foot ends up back, so it steps and spins again. Check my feet, no tight roping. 2, spin. Right foot is forward, it goes back. Left foot is forward, right hand blocks. One more time, back spin, back step. Step and spin. Other side spin. Left foot back, right hand blocks. Right foot back, left hand blocks. Right foot, step and spin. Other side, spin. Right foot back, left foot back. All right, white belts, please have that stone cold when you come back. And like I said, we'll make things more interactive with it later on. But if we have all these basics down and we don't have any gaps in that, obviously if you have a question, you're like, I was practicing at home, it didn't feel right or whatever, by all means, you can even shoot me a video or a message and I'll try to help you out virtually. But if not, then when we get back, we'll clear up any problems, but at the same time, hit the ground running on the other stuff. I hope to see you soon. In the meantime, stay safe, hop key.